Are wealthy children really advantaged? Growing up, I was the poor kid, not starving, but just enough to feel it. Off-brand clothes, packed lunches that were more whatever was left in the fridge than actual meals, and a mom who worked too much to ever make it to school events. Ethan was the opposite, the rich kid. Always had the latest sneakers, the newest iPhone, and vacations that sounded like they came straight out of a movie. His parents seemed like the type who had their own private jet. He was the guy everyone envied, the guy I swore had the perfect life. Then came parents' evening. I showed up alone, like always, and just hoped none of my teachers would be too hard on my mom when she eventually got off her shift and called in. But Ethan arrived with a tutor and a driver, no parents. I didn't think much of it at first. Rich people were busy, right? Too many meetings, business trips, whatever it was rich people did. But when I saw the way the teachers spoke to him, gentle, like he was made of glass, I got this weird feeling in my gut. At the end of the night, when we were both waiting outside, I finally asked, "Your parents couldn't make it?" He gave a small shrug. "They never do." I laughed. Damn, too busy making millions? He looked at me, then smiled. But it wasn't a real smile. It was the kind people do when they don't want to explain something. And then he said it. "Nah, they passed away when I was 2. I didn't know what to say. My stomach dropped. All this time, I thought he had everything. The first time I held my baby was in a courtroom. For years, my wife and I tried everything. After 3 miscarriages that shattered our hearts, we spent our 10th anniversary in a fertility clinic instead of Paris. Specialists across 3 states, experimental treatments, our savings depleting with each appointment. Hope became a currency we couldn't afford anymore. Then my sister called. She'd become pregnant at 19. "I'm not ready," she whispered through tears. Without hesitation, we offered to adopt. For 7 months, we prepared a nursery, chose a name, attended her appointments. 2 weeks before the due date, she disappeared. No calls, no texts. The hospital confirmed she'd delivered a healthy girl, then checked out against medical advice. I hired a private investigator who found her 3 states away. She'd reconnected with the father, convinced they could make it work. 6 months of legal battles followed. My sister refused mediation. Her boyfriend's family had money, attorneys. Today, the judge delivered his verdict. As my sister sobbed in the back row, he cited her history of instability, the boyfriend's previous drug charges, and our proven commitment. The bailiff placed my niece, now legally my daughter, in my trembling arms. My sister's eyes met mine across the courtroom, filled with both sorrow and understanding. She nodded once, knowing her daughter would grow up loved. "What did your parents say to you as a kid that still affects you today?" I was 7 when my dad looked me dead in the eyes and said, "The world won't care if you're tired. Never let them see you cry." I took those words to heart. When my grandma died, didn't cry. When I broke my arm in football, not a tear. When my first girlfriend cheated, nothing. I became known as the robot in high school, the emotionless one, the guy who could take anything, and I was proud of it, until last month. I'm a firefighter now, and we responded to an apartment fire. Found a little boy hiding in his closet, terrified. As I carried him out, he suddenly grabbed my arm. "Wait, my sister is still inside." My blood ran cold. We'd already cleared that entire floor. There was no sister. His mother rushed over as I set him down, tears streaming down her face. She hugged him tight and whispered, "It's okay, baby. You can cry. Your father was wrong. Boys don't have to be strong all the time." My stomach dropped. The kid looked up at me, still trembling, and said, "My dad always said crying is for babies, but he's not here anymore." I broke down right there, in front of my whole crew. 20 years of locked up tears came flooding out. Called my dad that night, told him everything. There was a long silence. Then I heard him crying for the first time in my life. "Son," he choked out, "I've been trying to find a way to tell you. That was the worst advice I ever gave. I was repeating what my old man said to me. Spent my whole life being strong, and all it did was make me miss out on really living."
How did you see your child acting that made you say, something's not right? Something was wrong with my son. No one believed me. My youngest was a fussy baby, always crying, barely sleeping unless I held him against my chest. The pediatrician brushed it off. "Some babies are just like that," he said, but something felt off. As he got older, the little things piled up. His balance seemed off. He barely reacted when his sister played with him, constantly sick, always tugging at his ears. Every time I brought it up, the doctor waved it away. "Allergies," he said. "He'll grow out of it." Then one afternoon, I was folding laundry when I saw him wander toward the open front door. A car was coming, fast. I screamed his name. He didn't stop. I ran, heart pounding, and grabbed him just as the car flew past. He just blinked up at me like nothing happened. The next morning, I made another appointment, told the doctor everything. He sighed. "I think you're overanalyzing." But I wasn't giving up. It took 4 years before I found a specialist who actually listened. They ran tests, and when the results came back, the doctor sat me down. "I don't know how to tell you this," he said, "but your son hasn't been able to hear since birth." Turns out, he had fluid trapped in his ears his whole life. The pressure caused him pain every single day. Extra skin had grown over his eardrums, making it even worse. He hadn't just been fussy, he'd been suffering. At 4 years old, he had surgery. When he woke up, I whispered his name. For the first time ever, he turned his head and looked right at me. My dream job turned into my worst nightmare, but karma had other plans. I worked in tech for 5 years when my dream company posted the perfect job. Even better, it was 2 blocks from my house. The interview went amazing. The team loved me, the manager couldn't stop smiling, and the director even gave me a tour saying I'd fit right in. Then the offer came. It was $25,000 less than I made now. I was shocked. When I told the recruiter this was way below my current salary, she laughed and said, "There's no way someone like you makes that much." Her tone made my stomach turn. "Someone like me?" I asked what she meant. She got flustered and said, "Well, you know, someone your age." I was 26, the same age as their CEO when he started the company. I stayed professional and declined. The recruiter kept calling, offering tiny raises, saying I should be grateful since the office was so close to home. Each time she got ruder, even suggesting I was lying about my experience. 2 weeks later, I got an offer from their biggest competitor. It paid $30,000 more than my current job, with full remote work and better benefits. I accepted on the spot. Here's where it gets good. A month later, my dream company's entire recruiting team was fired. Why? They'd failed to fill any positions because they kept lowballing candidates. The director quit too. The best part? My new company won a huge contract. The same one my dream company lost because they were understaffed. Sometimes the job you don't get is the biggest blessing in disguise. Last I heard, they're still trying to fill that position.
Waiters, have you ever had to call the cops on your table? I work at an upscale upscale steakhouse. 6 executives came in, their ringleader in his 50s, Rolex, $1,000 suit, arrogant smile. They ordered expensive wine, commenting on my appearance while ignoring their female colleague. When she stepped away, they leaned in, snickering. The ringleader placed his phone on the table facing her chair. When she returned, he covered it with a napkin, but the recording light was still blinking. Later, I found her crying in the restroom. She showed me her phone. They'd been secretly recording her, making comments about initiating her at their hotel. My manager wanted to handle it discreetly since they were important clients. I texted our ex-military chef instead. Chef approached their table. The ringleader snapped, "Get back to the kitchen." Chef played the group chat audio. The restaurant went silent. Diners turned to stare. "Do you know who I am?" the ringleader growled, standing up. "Don't care. Police are coming," Chef replied. The man swung at Chef. Big mistake. Chef had him pinned when officers arrived. Turns out he was on probation for harassment. They took him out in handcuffs. The woman still dines with us. Those executives, all fired. Sometimes justice gets served with dessert.